Hi all, Sarah Piddington here, the Safety Chick, and today I'm joined by Andrew McAllister, who is an asset manager for a large property corporation in the UK. So today we're going to talk about public liability, as Andrew has some questions. So I'm going to explain public liability, give you some examples, and offer advice on how to protect your business from unnecessary public liability claims. So a little bit of background for you. The reason we're discussing this is because of the rise of these no-win, no-fee claims. These are so bad that they've actually been banned in Ireland. And the reason these came about is because historically the first aid books that had people's names, addresses, phone numbers and all their personal details were kept in free, basically, running free virtually in businesses in first aid cabinets. When no-win, no-fee lawyers came around, people were going off to their first aid cabinet, taking the first aid books and selling them to these no-win, no-fee lawyers. So the prevalence of no-win, no-fee has been absolutely rife throughout the UK, and therefore we have a lot of claims that aren't appropriate. So businesses need to protect themselves, and what's important for you to all realise is that the onus of responsibility is on you as a business to prove you did everything practicable in order to stop an accident happening. So you must inspect your site and you must record all of your inspections. Under civil law, claimants have 3 years from the date of an accident to make a claim. Now, do you keep records for 3 years?
No.
Yeah, most companies don't keep records for 3 years, and this is why we end up with so many frivolous claims.
So what kind of frivolous public liability claims do you come across?
I've come across some good ones. One of my favourites was a lady who was walking through a shopping centre with her head clearly buried in a handbag looking for a mobile phone. She tripped over and fell on top of a wet floor sign, and then launched a claim against us saying that we had wet floors and that there was no wet floor sign out. So that's horrendous. It's a real blame culture. She took no responsibility for her own public safety, her own personal safety. It took hours of my time to investigate that accident. It took loads of time liaising with insurers, etc. So other kind of things I've seen people walking around a shopping centre and I've seen them looking around to see if anyone's watching and then hurl themselves on a floor. And I've watched this back on CCTV. And then people from the same family falling over in the same spot 1 week apart because one person's going to get a successful claim, so her daughter rocks up to the shopping centre the following week and does exactly the same thing.
So this must cost businesses a lot of money then?
Yes, it does. Yes, it costs businesses loads of money. All the lost time, the temporary staff, replacement costs, insurance premium increases, investigation time from a health and safety person's point of view, HR claims, all of that costs a lot of money. And there's an Iceberg Theory, which is for every £1 of uninsured costs, underneath the water, on top of that there's a whole pile of £1 of insured costs, there's a whole pile of uninsured costs. And over the top of this clip, a picture will actually show up to show how huge the iceberg is on top of the water and how small it is underneath.
So what can businesses do then to protect themselves?
There's a lot businesses can do. It's walking through your sites, checking them. If you own retail assets, shopping centres, get a checklist and walk through. Check your escape routes that they're not blocked. Check that broken floor tiles are being reported. You need to be checking that fixtures and fittings are secure and that signs aren't going to be falling on people's heads, things like that. And the simple act of completing a checklist, recording it and keeping it keeps you out of trouble. But the hint, Andrew, is keeping it for 3 years. Because the Limitations Act of 1980 states that for all civil claims, people have 3 full years from the date of accident, or alleged accident as the case may be, to make a claim. Now, in my experience, people save up until 2 years and 10 months, figuring the business won't have kept those records, and at 2 years and 10 months after an alleged incident, they make a claim. Now, they are legally perfectly entitled to do that, but what you need to make sure is that you have all of the records. So CCTV is an excellent way to protect yourself. So if you hear of an accident, even if you don't think a claim is going to come of it, burn that part of the CCTV showing that accident onto a CD and put it aside with your investigation file. Therefore, it's very important to have an investigation file. Document everything as soon as you can after the accident, because even with witness statements, with time, the facts fade away. Or people start talking to each other the following week and you hear what someone else thought of the accident, and that then becomes your story. So if you interview people as soon as you can after the accident, it stops people, not intentionally, but it stops them embellishing their stories.
So what about your insurers as well? Surely you need to have a good relationship with them.
Yes. The closer relationship you have with your insurers or your insurance brokers, the better. The insurers are the people who, or your brokers, are going to be the people that decide whether you as a business are doing enough. Now, if you say, hey, we've got weekly checklists and monthly checklists for the last 2 years, we can prove that those floor tiles weren't broken, the 5 floor tiles that have been broken have been repaired, that shows that you, through due course, are finding incidents or potential incidents, you're finding hazards and you're fixing them before they can harm someone. So if something does slip through the net, it's not because you've been negligent, it's a genuine accident. So insurers are comfortable when they know you have a different line of defence. So another thing to do, if you've got managers in a head office like you have, and then you have site managers at a commercial building or a retail asset and they're doing their monthly checks, every 6 months when you or one of your team goes to site to visit them, take a check sheet with you that says, yes, I have witnessed their 3 monthly check, their 1 monthly check, etc. That shows an extra line of defence, because not that we don't trust our staff on site, of course, but having that extra line of defence in there proves that you're doing everything you can in your power to make sure that things are being checked on site. Other things, winter months at the moment, it was snowing outside earlier today. We need to be thinking very carefully about gritting. So your company owns retail centres. It's essential that outside your retail centres and your commercial buildings, particularly if you have a car park, that you're gritting areas that are known as walkways. If it's your land, grit it. Sometimes there's a demarcation issue with the council. Speak to the council, find out whose land it is. If there's an argument, it's best to err on the side of caution and grit it. Training records, the same thing. If you have cleaners who have been trained in gritting, record those training records, keep them for 3 years. And also, if you change contractors, it's important to track those records as well. I recently was working with a client who had changed their cleaning contractor. The cleaning contractor left site quite disgruntled and took all of the records with them. A public liability claim came through, and the company was then not able to prove that the cleaning company had been trained and tasked with fixing broken floor tiles, with doing gritting, things like that. So it's essential that you keep all records that could potentially come up against you for 3 years.
Thanks, Sarah. That's really useful.
Oh, great. So glad that you've got something out of it. Hope you at home or in your office have got something out of it. If you need any further help, at the end of this clip will be a page with my business details, my email, etc. Also, there's a comment section underneath this video. If you have any comments to make, I'd love to hear them. Thanks very much, guys. Bye.
Safety check.